Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. This is a fantastic Friday, March the 12th. My wife's birthday, by the way. So we're celebrating that, and I've got house guests in town, so we got a bunch of stuff going on down here. But you didn't tune in for that. You tuned in for Ole Miss sports. So we wanted to talk a little bit about Ole Miss beating South Carolina and the preparation for LSU. I want to talk a little bit about the bubble. And of course, after the break, we are going to kind of do a prospectus on the wide receivers. But this is the POMcast. Ole Miss 76-59 victors over South Carolina. You can see the information right over there. Give that a look, and that'll let you what's going on. And normally we do that for the instant reaction. I thought I'd put it up for the first part of the POMcast. In case you missed the instant reaction, you can go back and catch it on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. It's on all those places. Instant reaction, the big win over South Carolina. It's right there. I'm with Trevor Oxley, breaking down everything about Ole Miss sports. But Ole Miss defeated South Carolina. They took care of business. South Carolina was down a few players. That's understandable. Kind of a lucky break for Ole Miss. Yesterday was a lucky break for Ole Miss entirely. Everything that could have hit that helped Ole Miss on the bubble did. And as a result, you will see that in Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology, Ole Miss is the first team out. What that means is if Ole Miss beats LSU, they're probably going to jump somebody and do enough to, according to him, get in. And when it comes to bracketology, now there's nobody that really knows the criteria this year. All they're doing is based off assumptions of years past. Ole Miss could be solidly in the tournament already. We don't know. But if we use the assumptions of years past, which they do because that's how they make money, that's how they make a living, and that's what they do, that criteria puts Ole Miss as the first team out of the tournament, the first alternate for the NCAA tournament. And as we saw with the unfortunate incident with Duke, being the first alternate for the NCAA tournament would have its benefits. So that's what we're looking at with bracketology currently. And, take everything with a grain of salt. On the Rebel Walk, currently there is an article by Trevor Oxley that breaks down the bubble and what Ole Miss fans should root for. It's probably going against our nature, but during this thing, Ole Miss needs to root for Mississippi State. It's beneficial. It erases a quad 3 loss and gives them a quad 1 win if they get above 75. They play Alabama today. If they can sneak that upset and get that, that'll probably be enough to get them there permanently, which will help Ole Miss and improve their resume. So, after the game, you were sitting there looking, everything's going on, and it's like, okay, this needs to happen. What is being looked at on the bubble by Kermit Davis? How's his staff handling things? And here's a little idea of his mindset going into it.
Hotel, a great one, JW Marriott. They don't have the SEC network, so we're trying to watch it downstairs with Nate hooking it up for us. And I followed a few scores. We were spending a lot of time really on South Carolina. Then I did some work on LSU just in case today. That scout's already done, just in my mind. And so Ronnie's got that one. So, not much time for that really, Ben, because I know it's a late game, but it's a quick turnaround for us. We'll meet tomorrow at 10:30 with our team, do some scouting, then come back in the afternoon, do some more scouting. Not a lot of physical activity, but a lot of mental things that we got to prepare for. And LSU throws a lot of different things at you.
How have you addressed it with the guys?
LSU throws a
We're just
lot of
spoken
different
about the
things
bubble
at
and
you.
Jay.
That is a very true statement. But with Devontae Shuler and Jarkel Joyner, if they match the level that they played versus South Carolina, they should perform better. Shuler had a disastrous game. He was 0 for 9-ish against LSU the first time they met. And that led to him having basically a 2-point game. And off of 2 free throws. So that needs to be turned around. Ole Miss cannot probably survive that anchor if that were to happen again. But that game was a substitution game. It was a COVID game. Ole Miss was supposed to play South Carolina. LSU ended up on the schedule. They played LSU, and LSU kind of jumped on them, popped them in the mouth a little bit. Ole Miss in the second half was able to regroup and cut down the lead to 12 or 13. But it was a 20-point game at halftime. So there was I don't want to say a little of hesitancy, but the scouting report wasn't necessarily there. Devontae Shuler didn't have his best game. Jarkel Joyner didn't have his best game, and Austin Crowley was the leading scorer for Ole Miss for that. So big opportunity tonight. This is our reward. Our reward for winning the biggest must-win in the history of Ole Miss basketball last night. We get LSU tonight for a de facto play-in game. We control our destiny at least for a night. And that's all you can ask for. They've fought and they've clawed and they just work their way back into this position. And they control their destiny at least for a night. And it's pretty big time. I think they've won, let's see, is it 9 of 11, 8 of 10, something like that. And, they're undefeated against ranked teams. I mean, their resume is pretty good. They got some bad losses. That's the reason the Mississippi State thing would help them out greatly. If they could beat Alabama and get into that top 75, it would help them out greatly. Now, I'm not counting on Mississippi State to help out Ole Miss at all, but that is something that you need to root for and look for. But again, for all the bubble stuff, check out Trevor Oxley on the Rebel Walk. Also, after the game tonight, I don't want to say immediately after the game because we're going to do the press conference gets done first, and then Trevor will come in. We're going to have another instant reaction. That was extremely popular last night. And if Ole Miss beats LSU, I figure it'd be more so. As long as basketball is playing, we will do some semblance of an instant reaction. Tomorrow might be tricky. I've got something scheduled for this weekend that could get in the way, but I'm hoping to work that out. Let's see. Also, baseball series this weekend. ULM. Friday starter for Ole Miss is Gunnar Hoagland. Saturday is Drew McDaniel. And Sunday is Derek Diamond. I'm looking forward to seeing Hoagland, although he is the guy that, he performs at such a high level that there's not really a lot of worry in position for him. He really, really performs at a high level. He's basically a co-ace with Doug Nikhazy. So I'm not necessarily worried about him on Friday night, but I do want to see him in the position of being the alpha because he is the alpha this weekend. I want to see him basically work with that mindset and just go through against the Louisiana Monroe and dominate. I want to see him shut them down. I want to see him act like a Friday ace. But Gunnar Hoagland will be the starter Friday. Drew McDaniel, the normal midweek starter, will be the starter on Saturday, taking Hoagland's normal spot. And Sunday will be Derek Diamond, the hard-throwing righty from California. It should be interesting. If everything goes the way it's supposed to go, Ole Miss should win the game. But when it comes to baseball, you really never can tell. I mean, anybody can win a game. A pitcher can have a bad day. Bats can get hot. There's many avenues to defeat when it comes to baseball. That's the reason people call it a heady game, but in reality, there's a bunch of stuff that's out of your control that can do you in. But that's what I'm looking for this weekend. You can catch us on Sunday with a baseball instant reaction of a weekend series with Jake Evans. So after basketball with Trevor Oxley, after baseball with Jake Evans, and that's where we are right now. And we're just growing this and adding videos as it goes. We're going to get into recruiting shortly. I'm looking at doing a video over the next couple of months whenever I get free time. Basically, whenever this is built and I can trust it, I can do other videos like I'm planning on doing one about how to follow recruiting for free. Why you don't need to invest in that platform and what you're actually paying for. And this will be coming from somebody that worked behind that platform for 5 to 10 years. So that's something I want to do. I think it'll come out before the fall. Leanne is going to come and do a recruiting show. Of course, we have Chris Thrasher, our Oxford correspondent, kind of doing the fans thing. And if Ole Miss can make the tournament, we're definitely going to hit Chris next week with reactions for the men's team and the women's team, both of them on the bubble at the moment. And Darby McCraney, the recruiting czar, will be back too. So I know you're thinking, it's like you're adding Leanne. Well, that's fine. We're going to also keep Darby. We're going to have a multi-person recruiting setup that you can hit and have different perspectives from both of them. So a lot of good stuff coming up here on this channel. You can catch us on Twitter at @TheStephenWillis or at @TheRebelWalk. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. Of course, you can hit us up on YouTube at Positively Ole Miss. Hit the bell for notifications. You'll always know when we're going live. Hit the bell, hit all, subscribe, do all that. It'll be beneficial to have that page because we have Ole Miss's greatest games that we can find on YouTube. That's on there. We've aggregated that. We've also aggregated Ole Miss's games on demand last year. So if you want to watch Ole Miss football, old games, there it is on demand. Also there, you can catch all the interviews, all the press conferences. It's a good resource for the fan that is looking to not be handed and given information, but just be able to get it themselves and be able to disseminate it themselves. It's kind of a smart person's problem solving. You're doing it yourself. You're not being told what to do. So that's available, and we're also on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all one word. You can also catch us on Willis Digital Media, both on YouTube and Twitch. So yeah, we have a bunch of stuff, and our audio stuff is going to come back. I got a tweet the other day. A little DM came in asking about our audio feed, and yeah, it will come back. We've been building this for months at this point, and it just concentrating on that took up a lot of time. So the thing that went away was the video temporarily. That will be back. Until then, you can catch us on YouTube, catch us on Twitch. We're still out there. We're still available. We're still broadcasting. We're just not on our audio only sources that we will be. Now, within a couple of months, we will be back on them. So you can catch us at Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Pandora. I think that's all of them. Those will be avenues that you can also catch what we're doing. But you can see right here we have a unique product available. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we are going to hit a little bit of the prospectus. The prospectus behind Ole Miss's wide receiver corps. But, I mean, big spring for Jonathan Mingo, big spring for J.J. Henry, actually, John Rice Plumlee, Ja'Cour Pearson, Dontario Drummond. It's just a big spring for the wide receiver group. Stick around.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise.
And that number is dropping.
Nearly 30% of us are overweight or obese.
We spend 6 hours a day in front of a screen.
As a result, we now have a shorter life expectancy than our parents.
But give us the right start in sports, and we'll never stop.
Learn how at active4life.ca.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis from Positively Ole Miss. We're almost done with this break. We'll be back with good information quite soon.
The military has been in every generation of my family, and so has VA. It wasn't easy for my dad after Vietnam, but VA helped him and my mom get the home they'd always wanted. My grandpa's been coming to VA since World War II. They even helped him lay to rest one of his battle buddies from Normandy. And me, I followed in their footsteps and served with pride. And now that I'm out of the military, the GI Bill's helping me with school. Every generation of my family has served, and VA has served us all.
All right, welcome back to the POMcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, as you can see right below. We are doing our spring prospectus, looking at the wide receiver positions. We're looking at things that we're looking for different players, things that it might be a big spring for. Who has the body, who could surprise, things like that. And we are to the wide receiver group, and the wide receiver group is missing Elijah Moore. And, I mean, you have a bunch of players like Dontario Drummond and Jonathan Mingo and J.J. Henry, and you can tell I like J.J. Henry, Brandon Buckhalter. Those guys are going to sit out here for a role, but the reality is replacing Elijah Moore is a pretty big deal. He was an elite player. He made big plays. He was the recipient of the ball on the clip play. So it's going to be pretty interesting. My guess is the biggest spring for the wide receiver group are for the slot receivers. And that would be Ja'Cour Pearson, J.J. Henry, and John Rice Plumlee. I'm going to basically put JRP in that position until I hear otherwise. He looked really good in the Outback Bowl, but until you hear otherwise, I mean, you have to assume that he's going to continue down that road. Now, Ja'Cour Pearson is actually from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He went to high school in the same place as Elijah Moore. He's built a little bit like Elijah Moore. He's quick like Elijah Moore. He's a little more physical of a receiver. He might not be as fast, and he might be more physical. They're both fairly quick. His numbers at Western Kentucky were quite good, especially playing after the slot. Now, the other receiver, you have J.J. Henry out of Texas. He's a true freshman. He's coming in here to make a splash. I really like his film. Go to huddle.com, search J.J. Henry. He's in McKinney North in Texas. And his film's pretty special. But he is not an Elijah Moore type slot. That's something that people need to get their head around, because like everything else, there's different fits for what type of player you are. He's not an Elijah Moore type slot. He's more of a Jalen Waddle type slot. Now, I'm not calling him Jalen Waddle. I'm just doing a comp. That's it. It's more of a speed based. It's more straight line. He's probably going to do a little bit of damage that way. And also, everybody knows what John Rice brings to the table. In the jet sweep game, he could be quite effective. He really could. In the short game against Indiana, he showed the ability to catch the ball in traffic. He made the big play. That last drive was basically all JRP until Dontario Drummond caught the touchdown. But he has a chance to build. The important thing for him, and why it's important, is he has to learn how to play the position. He needs to be a little more proficient through 15 practices, which he probably, won't be over for all of them. But he needs to take the time to be a little more proficient. That's his goal. J.J. Henry learned how to play slot at the college level. He played on the outside a little bit in high school. He's a slot receiver. He's a legit threat. He's going to be a deep threat, and he will be used in the Lane Kiffin offense like you wouldn't believe. Ja'Cour Pearson will be used a lot like Elijah Moore. I wouldn't expect him so much in the jet sweep game, but he does well in route combinations, playing inside and can get open. It's hard to cover a guy that's quick as him because he's got like phone booth quickness. You can't touch him in a phone booth. Now on the outside, another big spring goes to the outside receivers, Jonathan Mingo and Dontario Drummond. Dontario Drummond has a chance to be the alpha of that room. He had a big game in the Outback Bowl. You saw him coming. There's a development arc that is going, and he looks poised to take over for Elijah Moore as the alpha in that room. Jonathan Mingo was expected to kind of be that guy. He kind of fits the mold. He looks like Dante Moncrief. He plays receiver like that. He has some little bit of developmental, and the fact that we didn't have a spring last year really stunted his growth. He had a big game against Kentucky. I understand that. But on the outside, you can go back to Boot Camp the Offense at the beginning on the YouTube channel, us talking about the Lane Kiffin offense and what we think it would look like. We also did position breakdowns. And the outside guys, they're not the primary weapons generally in this offense. Now, that could change. Braylon Brown, Brandon Buckhalter, those guys coming in, those are legit playmakers. Brandon Buckhalter is, he looks like a 5-star. The reason he's a 3-star is because he played high school football in Mississippi and had to go down to MAIS. I understand that's, some people think that's an insult. It's not. It's really not. You have a bunch of people that are rating, that are basing this off of combines. If they can't do combines, there's not ability to raise it up. He should have jumped up. Like Braylon Brown got cemented because he was able to go to the Miami combine like last February 14th. And so he was cemented as a 4-star. Brandon Buckhalter didn't exactly have that same luck. When it comes to this recruiting class, it's a very good recruiting class. You can look at the film. We've got all of that stuff. It's a very good recruiting class. But the people ranking them, there's not late jumps like there normally are. There's not really jumps at all or drops at all. It's kind of the same as it was 18 months ago, and it's because of a lack of a combine. When you rely so much on combines to do your rankings and seeing that, it becomes very analytical on how to rank people. And then that just went away, and you had to rely on football knowledge, and a lot of them don't have it. A lot of them could be a sports reporter from a small Florida newspaper, now is a recruiting analyst. Just be smart. Use your head. Everybody watches this. Everybody has an idea of what it takes to play at this level. Just be smart. I've got house guest over. I think that's going to do it. I'm going to give you a couple minutes back. Thank you so much for watching us. Please subscribe to our channels. Follow our channels. Do all that. Help us build that up. And we're going to continue to bring neat stuff to you. But we need to see those subscriptions grow. We're already up around 500-600 views an episode on Twitter. But we'd like to grow out the YouTube and the Twitch as well. And of course, if you want to sponsor the show, you can hit me up at positivelyolemiss@gmail.com. And I am happy to talk to you for that. We got some great stuff. If you want to go annual, it's $10 per 1,000 streams. Boom. 3 months, $15 per 1,000 streams. Annually or month to month, $20 per 1,000 streams. And you can get them universally, or you can just get the POMcast. If you just want to do the POMcast, that'll save you a little money. That's available for you. So hit me up on that if you're interested in that. We haven't even formed our LLC yet to be able to take money. But we're going to do that probably in the next month or so. But it's a conversation that can start. And if we agree on something, if you like doing this, until that LLC is created, I'll give you this month free. So if that's something that's interesting you, let me know. Let's see what's going on. Hit the Rebel Walk for post-game press conference reaction. The instant reaction will be here with Trevor Oxley tonight. Baseball series instant reaction will be Sunday afternoon. And the next POMcast will be Monday, of course, at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, which I desperately appreciate you listening to. Until tonight, I'm Stephen Willis with the POMcast. Thanks a lot.